Jai Hind students, welcome to my YouTube channel. And students, before we start, I would like to share one very important aspect of education with you. Reading, writing, arithmetic, doing all the sorts of calculations, mathematics, biology, physics, chemistry, these all are important as long as they serve you to make you a better human being. That is, these subjects, these calculations, reading, writing, they are definitely important, but as long as they serve you to make more humane. So students, the main purpose of education is to make us a good human being, so as to enable us to differentiate between what's right and what's wrong, right? It doesn't mean that you will leave your studies. Do study very well with full dedication and devotion, but that's not the end of life. It's only a very small part. So what I mean to say is that while studying, while gaining knowledge, don't take any stress. Just try to enjoy your studies. Then only the best output will be provided or best output will be achieved. Right, students? So with that, today we will discuss some very interesting numericals based on Biot-Savart law and its applications. In the previous session, students, we have discussed the applications of Biot-Savart law. The strength of the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. Then we have determined the expression for the magnetic field at the center of a current carrying loop, isn't it? So based on those formulas, we will try to evaluate these numericals. In each of these 9 questions, what we are supposed to find is, we are supposed to find out the magnitude and the direction of the magnetic field at point O. This is the point O. We are supposed to find out the magnetic field at point O, right? And we are also supposed to specify the direction of the magnetic field. The direction of the magnetic field would be perpendicular to the plane of the paper, and it will either be in the inward direction or in the outward direction. And obviously, for the direction, we will have to make use of right hand thumb rule. Isn't it, students? So let's start with the first question then, right? Okay, first one. Now look, this is a part, this is a straight conductor, and then the current flows like this. There is a vanishingly small gap between that. Note out the difference in these two diagrams. This is like this is a straight current carrying conductor, and then the current is flowing in the clockwise direction and then again going through the straight conductor. Both the ends are infinitely long. While in this case, it's like this. In this case, in the circular loop, the current is flowing in the anti-clockwise direction, like this, right? So in both the cases, we are supposed to determine the magnetic field at point O. So what we do is, what's the proper process is, suppose the straight path, it is considered to be conductor 1. This is negligible. So we can consider it to be a straight conductor. And the circular section of the loop, the circular part, current carrying circular part, will consider to be part 2. Right? So let's find out the magnetic field at point O due to this straight conductor. So let's find B1. Now students, we are all aware, this straight conductor, both the ends extends to infinity, and this is the observation point. Its perpendicular distance from the straight conductor is r. So what is the formula? It is mu naught I divided by 4 pi perpendicular distance, isn't it? Then sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2, that is sin 90 plus sin 90. So that is 1 plus 1, 2. So what we will get is mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. We can make use of this formula directly. And what about the direction, students? At this point, the magnetic field lines due to the straight current carrying conductor will appear to be coming out. So if we draw a tangent at point O and in the outward direction, that will give you the direction of the magnetic field. So it is directed perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. And this is the symbol for indicating its direction, right? So look, hold this current carrying conductor. So rest of the fingers are curling in the outward direction. So the direction of the magnetic field due to the straight conductor at point O is perpendicular and in the outward direction. That is represented by this symbol, isn't it? So, magnetic field at point O due to the straight conductor is over. Now, magnetic field due to this circular current carrying conductor. That is second part. It is, student, at the center of a current carrying loop. The magnetic field is mu naught I divided by 2R. And what will be its direction? In case it is clockwise, then it will be inward, isn't it? Like this you can apply. So it's inward. The magnetic field lines at point O due to the circular current carrying loop is directed inwards. Inwards, it's represented like this. Clear, students? So both are oppositely directed. Due to the straight conductor, the magnetic field at point O is directed outwards. Due to the circular current carrying portion, the magnetic field at point O is directed inwards. So both are oppositely directed. So they are vector quantity. So the dominant one minus the less dominant one along the direction of the dominant one. So which one is greater, students? So net magnetic field out of these two, which one is greater? Obviously B2 is greater than B1. Numerator is same. Denominator of B2 is less. So B2 would be greater than B1. So resultant would be B2 minus B1 along the direction of the dominating one, which is B2. So net direction would be inwards. So let's substitute the value. So what do you get? Mu naught I divided by 2R. It will be 1 minus 1 by pi. This is the complete answer. So the magnetic field at point O is mu naught I over 2R 1 minus 1 by pi and directed perpendicular to the plane of the loop and directed inwards. Students, B1 and B2 are oppositely directed. So whenever the two vectors are oppositely directed, then the resultant, its magnitude is given by the difference in the magnitude of the two vectors. And direction is along the direction of the dominating one. So here B2 is greater than B1. So the direction of the resultant is along the direction of B2. Clear, students? Okay. So we are done with question number 1. Now let's consider question number 2. As I have told you, the basic difference between these two questions is here there is a small gap, vanishing small gap. The current is flowing along this direction like this. And here it's like this. It completes the loop like this. There is no gap. It's like this. Right? So consider the straight conductor to be 1 and the circular portion to be 2. And the perpendicular distance of this observation point from the straight conductor is R, which is the radius of the loop. So let's find out B1. B1 is the magnetic field at point O due to the straight conductor, which is infinitely long on both the sides. So what is its expression? It is mu naught I divided by 2 pi R. What will be the direction? Like this. So it's coming outward. So it will be perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. Now let's calculate B2. B2 is the magnetic field at point O due to this circular current carrying section. So at the center of a current carrying loop, magnetic field is given by mu naught I divided by twice into radius. So what will be its direction, students? Look, it's in the anti-clockwise, like this. So due to this loop, the magnetic field line at point O is directed outwards. So in this case, B1 and B2 both are in the same direction. That is perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. So they will get added up, they will aid each other. So net magnetic field, it would be equal to B1 plus B2. Since both are in the same direction, so they need to be added up. So mu naught I divided by 2R, it will be considered to be common and it will be 1 plus 1 by pi. And what will be the direction? Direction of either of B1 or B2. So which is perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. Clear, students? So I hope you have understood the first two parts. It's pretty simple. So in these questions, when you encounter it in MCQs or in board examinations, you need to apply the formulas directly. Right? So we are done with question number 1 as well as question number 2. Now let's attempt question number 3. Now it's a relatively very simple question. It has got two straight parts and a semicircular section, right? It has got two straight parts and a semicircular section. So third one, suppose this is 1, the semicircular portion is 2 and this is 3. Now look, students, the magnetic field at a point on the axis of a conductor, straight conductor, is always 0. We have discussed it, right? So point 2 lies on the axis of first portion. Point 2 lies on the axis of the third portion as well. So the magnetic field due to the first portion and due to the third portion is 0. Clear, students? So the net magnetic field at point 2 due to the first and the third portion is 0. So we are left with only the second portion, which is the semicircular current carrying loop of radius r. So B2 is magnetic field due to a circular loop at the center is mu naught I over 2r. Due to a semicircular loop, it will be half of that. So it will be mu naught I divided by 4r. What will be its direction? Clockwise inwards, anti-clockwise outwards. Look, current is flowing in the clockwise direction. So the magnetic field lines at point 2 will appear to enter. So the direction will be perpendicular to the plane of the loop and directed inwards. So B net is equal to B2 only, which is mu naught I divided by 4r, perpendicular to the plane and directed inwards. Clear, students? It's so very simple and interesting too. Okay, so we are done with the first 3 questions. So let's attempt the third one, fourth one actually. So fourth one is again quite interesting one. We'll divide it into various parts and then we'll try to attempt question number 4. Okay, again this is the point where we are supposed to determine the magnetic field, right? This is the current carrying conductor. It's like this. This is a straight portion, this is a semicircular portion, and again this is a straight portion. Consider it to be 1. Consider the semicircular section to be 2, and then again the straight part to be 3, right? Magnetic field at point 2 due to part 1. Point 2 lies on the axis of the first conductor. So the magnetic field due to the first conductor would be 0. Clear, students? Okay. B2. This is a semicircular current carrying loop. Due to a semicircular current carrying loop, the magnetic field is mu naught I divided by 4r. R is the radius. So this will be the magnitude. What about the direction? It's flowing in the anti-clockwise like this. Current is flowing along this direction. So magnetic field lines will seem to be coming out of point 2. So perpendicular to the plane of the loop and directed outwards. This represents the direction of the magnetic field perpendicular to the plane of the plane board in my case and directed outwards, right? And now B3. This is B3. This is the straight portion. So its perpendicular distance of the observation point O from the straight conductor is r, right? This is the perpendicular distance. One end is fixed of the straight conductor and other end extends to infinity. So phi 1 is 0, phi 2 is 90 degree. So what is the formula over here, students? It is mu naught I divided by 4 pi into perpendicular distance. Sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2. Sin 0 plus sin 90. So 0 plus 1, that will give us 1. So this is the formula. Again, all these formulas had been mathematically verified and discussed in the earlier section, isn't it? So what about the direction, students? Look, this is where the current is flowing. So the rest of the fingers, they are curling along this direction. So the magnetic field due to the straight portion would seem from point O to emerging outward, right? It's in the outward direction. So net magnetic field would be given by sum of these two. Why sum of these two? Because both are in the same direction. Whenever the two vectors are in the same direction, then they get added up. So what will be the result? It will be mu naught I divided by 4r. It can be taken as common. 1 plus 1 by 5. And direction would be perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. Right, students? So we are over with question number 4 as well. Right? Let's discuss question number 5. These are two straight conductors, both are infinitely long, and in both the conductors current I is flowing and in the same direction. We are supposed to find out the magnetic field at point O, which is the midpoint of the line joining these two straight conductors. Total distance is 2r, so the distance of each of the conductor from this observation point is r, right? So consider this to be first conductor, consider this to be the second conductor. So B1. Due to this first conductor, the magnetic field over here would be mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. Both the ends extends to infinity. So this is the magnitude, right? What about the direction then? It's inward. Due to this first conductor, the magnetic field at point O is directed inwards. So it's like this. Right, students? Now consider B2. This is a straight conductor, both the ends extends to infinity. So the magnitude of the magnetic field at point O, which is at a distance r from where, would be same. Mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. Now what about its direction? Look, like this thumb is pointing along the direction of the flow of current. So the magnetic field lines will emerge out of point O. So it is perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. Now consider of these two strings. The magnetic field at point O due to these two conductors are equal in magnitude but oppositely directed. So they will nullify, that is, they will tend to cancel out the effect of each other. So as a result, the net magnetic field, it will be equal to 0. It will be B1 minus B2 being oppositely directed, and both are of equal magnitude, therefore resultant is 0. So here at this point, the net magnetic field would be 0. Right? So we are over with question number 5 as well. Consider question number 6. It is similar to that of question number 5, with the only difference that here the current in the two parallel straight infinite long conductors are flowing in the opposite direction. So let's attempt question number 6. Consider this to be the first conductor, this to be the second. Due to this infinitely straight conductor, the magnetic field at point O is mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. Right? Direction again, it's inward. Okay. B2, due to the second conductor, again the strength of the magnetic field would be same, equal in magnitude. What about its direction? Here current is flowing downward, so you will apply this rule like this. You will invert it like this. So thumb indicates the direction of the flow of current. So the direction in which the rest of the fingers curl, that gives the direction of the magnetic field. So at point O, we need to find out the direction of the magnetic field. So like this. So magnetic field lines will be directed like this. So it will seem to enter point O like this. It will seem to enter point O. So it is directed inwards. So look students, in this case both are of same magnitude and are of equal direction. Therefore they will get added up. So net magnetic field at point O would be equal to B1 plus B2. Both are of equal magnitude. So twice mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. So it would be equal to mu naught I divided by pi r. And direction would be along the direction of either of B1 or B2, which is perpendicular to the plane and directed inwards. Right students? So we are over with question number 6 as well. Right? Okay. Let's proceed to the next question. Question number 7. Students, concentrate on that particular diagram. This is an arc like this. This is a current carrying conductor like this. Right? It's not circular, but it's a section of a circular loop. So we are supposed to find out the net magnetic field at point O. We are supposed to find out the net magnetic field at point O due to this current carrying arc, major arc of radius small r. Okay, this is quite interesting question. 7th one. Now students, we will try to divide it into two parts. This is a current carrying arc, considered to be first, and this is a straight conductor, considered to be second. Right? So let us find out first the magnetic field at point O due to this current carrying arc, which subtends an angle of 2 pi minus 2 theta at the center. Clear? I am considering this portion, students. I am considering only this portion. This is the center. And current is flowing in the clockwise direction. This is the center. and the angle which this arc subtends, it is 2 pi minus 2 theta, 360 minus 2 theta. This angle, as per the quotient, it's given to be 2 theta. Right? So due to this current carrying arc, the magnetic field at this point is given by, students, we have derived it, mu naught I divided by 4 pi r, r is the radius, multiplied by theta. Theta is the angle which it subtends, which the arc subtends at the center. Here, the angle which this current carrying arc subtends at the center is 2 pi minus 2 theta. This is it. 2 pi minus 2 theta. Am I clear, students? And what about the direction? Current is flowing in the clockwise. So the magnetic field at point O would be directed inwards. It's like this. It is directed inwards, like this. It's directed inwards. So the direction of the magnetic field at point O is perpendicular to the plane and directed inwards. Right? So we are over with part 1. Now let's consider part 2. Let's consider B2. Right? Let us consider B2. Due to this straight section. Now due to a straight conductor whose endpoint subtends an angle phi1 and phi2 with the reference line, the strength of the magnetic field is given by mu naught I divided by 4 pi perpendicular distance bracket sin phi1 plus sin phi2. Right? So suppose this perpendicular distance is A. This is the straight portion I am talking about. Suppose this perpendicular distance is A. Right? So what we get is mu naught I divided by 4 pi perpendicular distance from the straight portion A sin phi1 plus sin phi2. This angle is theta and this angle is theta. So the endpoints of the straight conductor subtends an angle of theta theta with this reference line. So it will be sin theta plus sin theta. Am I clear, students? And what about the direction then? It's in the clockwise, right? Like this. So magnetic field lines will seem to be directed inwards. So, like this. Now A has to be converted in terms of R. So what we do is, consider it's a right angle triangle, isn't it? It's a right angle triangle. This is R, this is A. So you can consider cos theta. In this right angle triangle, consider cos theta. It's base over hypotenuse. A by R. So A may be written as R cos theta. Isn't it? A may be written as R cos theta. So what do you get is B2 is equal to mu naught I divided by 4 pi. In place of A, you can write R cos theta. R cos theta. And sin theta plus sin theta is twice sin theta. So this may further be written as mu naught I divided by 4 pi r twice sin theta by cos theta is tan theta, directed inwards. So resultant magnetic field at point 2 due to this current carrying arc as well as due to this straight conductor would be given by B1 plus B2. Because both are in the same direction, both are directed inwards, so they will get added up. So it will be B1 plus B2. So what we get is mu naught I divided by 4 pi r. This can be taken as common. So here 2 pi minus 2 theta plus 2 tan theta. Clear, students? So 2 can be taken as common. So we will be left with mu naught I divided by 2 pi r pi minus theta plus tan theta and directed inwards. So this is the magnitude of the net magnetic field at point O, and the direction is perpendicular to the plane and directed inwards. So students, this was a very good question, right? So this is the solution. I hope you have understood it, isn't it? So the thing is, formulas, it should be crystal clear. There shouldn't be any sort of ambiguity. All the formulas have been already discussed or derived mathematically in the earlier section. So in case of any doubt, please refer to my previous lecture, right? It is only when you are confident of all the formulas, then only you should attempt solving these numericals. Okay students, question number 7 we are done with. Now question number 8. It is the case of a semicircular loop. Actually, there are two semicircular loops, one of radii A, the other one of radii B. B is greater than A. So, let's try to get the magnetic field at point O. 8th question. Okay, let's consider to be the first section, the straight part. The semicircular to be the second, this one to be third, and this one smaller semicircular part to be fourth. Right? Now, what about B1? Point O lies on the axis of the first section. Also, it lies on the axis of the third part. So, B1 is equal to B3 is equal to 0. So, students, the magnetic field at point O due to the straight portions would be 0 as point O lies on its axis, isn't it? So, we are left with only the second and the fourth part. Consider B2. This is a semicircular portion. So, at the center of a semicircular current carrying loop, the magnetic field is mu naught I divided by 4 into radius. What's the radius of the semicircular loop? It is B. And what will be the direction? Current is flowing in the clockwise, so it will be directed inwards. Now, what about the fourth portion? The small semicircular loop. Again, the formula would be mu naught I divided by 4 times radius. Here the radius is A. And what would be the direction? The current in this loop is flowing in the anti-clockwise. So, the magnetic field line from point O will appear to be coming out. So, it is directed outwards. Now, both are opposite directed. But the magnitude are different, so they won't nullify the effect of each other. So, resultant magnetic field would be B4 minus B2. Why B4 minus B2? Because B4 is greater than B2. Numerator of both these are same. A is less than B. Since A is less than B, therefore B4 must be greater than B2. Therefore, resultant is B4 minus B2 along the direction of the dominating one. B4 is the dominating one. So B net, it would be equal to mu naught I divided by 4. It can be taken as common 1 by A minus 1 by B. And along the direction of B4, that is perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards, right? So this is the complete solution. This is the magnitude and this one will give you the direction, right? So students, we are over with question number 8 as well. Now let's concentrate on the last question. I hope you are enjoying doing these questions. You need to feel confident. You need to feel that energy. Okay, question number 9. Again, let's divide the entire circuit into small parts. This one is first, this arc part, this is 2, this one is 3, again this arc 4, the straight part, it is 5. Suppose this is 5. Right? Now look, point O lies on the axis of first part, on the axis of fifth part, and on the axis of third part. So, the magnetic field due to the first portion, due to the third portion, and due to the fifth portion of this given diagram, it would be equal to 0. Point O lies on the axis of these portions, right? And we are aware the magnetic field at a point on the axis of a straight conductor is always 0. No doubt regarding that. Okay, B2. Now, for this current carrying arc, it is subtending, this arc is of radius A and it is subtending theta at the center. So what's the formula, students? Mu naught I theta divided by 4 pi radius. Radius is A. Right? This is the formula. Theta is the angle which this current carrying arc subtends at the center. Right? What about its direction? It's in the clockwise. Clockwise means inward. Clockwise means the direction of the magnetic field in the center would be directed inwards. Okay. Now consider B4. This portion. Again, it's an arc of radius B, subtending the angle theta at the center. So the formula would be mu naught I theta divided by 4 pi, radius is B in this case. The directional magnetic field due to this current carrying arc would be directed outwards. The current in this arc is flowing in the anti-clockwise. So it will be like this. The thumb points towards the direction of the flow of current and the fingers from point O appears to be coming outward. So the magnetic field at point O due to this arc, current carrying arc, would be directed perpendicular and directed outwards like this. Now students, both are opposite directed, isn't it? Therefore, the net magnetic field at point O would be given by B4 minus B2. Now here, why I have written B4 minus B2? Why not B2 minus B4? It is because students, B4 is greater than B2. And when they are opposite directed, then the resultant is given by the difference in the magnitude of the two vectors along the direction of the dominating one. Right? So here B4 is dominating. I'll justify it. Now look, here from the diagram it's pretty clear. B is less than A. And magnetic field is inversely proportional to the radius. Rest of the term is constant. So therefore, B4 is greater than B2. And that is the reason why net magnetic field at point O would be given by B4 minus B2. Right? So, substituting the value, what do we get is mu naught I theta divided by 4 pi, it can be taken as common. So, it is 1 by B minus 1 by A. And as we have discussed, the direction would be along the direction of the dominating one. B4 is the dominating one. So, the direction of the resultant is perpendicular to the plane and directed outwards. Right? So, this is the complete solution. So, students, I hope you have enjoyed this session doing these very, very interesting numericals based on Biot-Savart law and its applications. Right? We'll continue with some more numericals. Right? Till then, do practice as many numericals as possible. And do join me in my next lecture then. Till then, do take very good care of yourself. Thank you.